2 million years ago, Earth was not our home, but the battleground of relentless predators. The ancestors of humankind, small and fragile creatures, did not stand atop the food chain. They were prey, watched, stalked, and pursued. Across Africa, shattered fossils recount a terrifying story. Fangs, claws, and crushing bites driven through the bones of ancient humans. But what hunted them? In the past, there were creatures faster than lions, stronger than bears, and cunning enough to make hunting humans an instinct. And the question for us today is this: what truly was the nightmare of prehistoric people? Dinosaurs had vanished, yet new rulers quickly rose. On the African plains and in ancient forests, saber-toothed cats, short-faced bears, dirk-toothed tigers, and giant hyenas roamed without challenge. So what about us? If you could travel back 2,500,000 years, you would not see humankind standing at the summit as we do today. On the contrary, the distant ancestors of humanity were still small mammals with no fangs, no claws, no speed, no strength, struggling to survive in a world with no place for the weak. In limestone caves of China, researchers once uncovered numerous fossils belonging to animals such as horses, turtles, rhinoceroses, and even Homo erectus, the long-extinct upright human. Those bone fragments lay scattered across the cave floor, unburied and without pattern. Stranger still, many were broken and crushed, especially skulls and long bones bearing marks of heavy blows. Something or someone had deliberately smashed them open to reach the marrow and brain, the two most nutrient-rich parts. At first, people believed this was evidence of cannibalistic rituals, but under closer study, everything became far less plausible. There were no cut marks from stone tools, no chips from axes or sharp flakes. In their place were large, thick, deep tooth impressions, as if made by a creature with a devastating bite. Indeed, these traces were created by powerful jaws capable of grinding through bone. And the culprit behind it all stands before you. Pachycrocuta brevirostris, the giant, short-faced hyena of prehistory. This was the largest hyena ever to exist. It could weigh more than 400 pounds, stand nearly 3.3 ft tall, and stretch over 66 inches in length. Its size was comparable to an adult female lion and 3 times larger than modern hyenas. Paleontologists have uncovered its fossils across Africa, China, India, and even Europe, proving it was one of the most widespread predators of the Pleistocene. If people are familiar with modern hyenas scavenging carcasses and stealing kills by lurking and biting other predators from behind, then Pachycrocuta revealed the opposite. It was among the most intelligent creatures on the planet and a pinnacle hunter of the Ice Age. It also possessed the strongest bite force of any living species on Earth. With jaws capable of crushing elephant bone, the giant hyena dragged prey into its den, shattered skulls to reach the brain, and only then turned to the marrow. Simulations show that with its massive build, Pachycrocuta could sprint at about 31 miles over short distances. They typically operated in groups of 4 to 6, attacking both day and night. During a hunt, they used sheer numbers to exhaust their prey, then bit into its flanks and neck until it collapsed. For ancient humans living in scattered bands, this was a genuine threat. A lone individual leaving the group for firewood or water could easily be ambushed. Some researchers, such as C.K. Brain, suggest that the presence of Pachycrocuta helped drive cooperative behavior in early humans. To survive, they gathered around fire, shared night watches, and defended their hard-won kills from the hyena packs. In a sense, This species taught our ancestors the necessity of unity, a turning point in human survival. Not only in Africa, but across the vast expanse of Eurasia, the rule of existence remained constant. The weak were food, and only the strong endured. And in most cases, our ancestors, even with fire, stone, and intellect, could not overcome predators far swifter, stronger, and more ruthless. Between 2 million and 1.2 million years ago, the lands of East Africa, where Kenya and Tanzania now lie, formed a boundary of dry grasslands and open woodland. It was home to one of the most fearsome big cats in history, Dinofelis, meaning terrible cat. Fossils of Dinofelis have been found at more than 30 sites across Africa, extending into Europe and Asia. This confirms that along with the giant hyena Pachycrocuta, it was among the dominant predators of the planet for an extended era. In size, Dinofelis matched a modern leopard, stretching about 6.6 ft in length and weighing 265 to 330 pounds. Yet its body was thicker with dense muscle, broad shoulders, a powerful neck, and a strongly built jaw. Most striking were its long, curved upper canines, capable of piercing a skull or spine with a single bite. It had a stout body, a short tail and forelimbs even stronger than those of the modern jaguar that uses them to pin prey to the ground. Unlike other feline relatives such as Smilodon or Meganterion that hunted large animals, Dinofelis had a particular preference for primates. This included species regarded as some of our earliest ancestors, such as Paranthropus, and it also hunted mammoths and gomphothers. Fossil evidence shows these fearsome cats possessed skulls and jaws strong enough to crush the skulls of early Homo sapiens. Imagine the resilience our ancestors needed in that age, because this creature was incredibly fast and intensely bloodthirsty. The body structure of Dinofelis also allowed it to climb trees with ease and leap as far as 16.4 tons. Paleontologists believe that due to its somewhat bulky build, Dinofelis was not a speed-based hunter like the cheetah. Instead, it relied on night vision and camouflage to stalk and ambush prey from trees or from dense undergrowth. Living in habitats that ranged from forests to grasslands and wetlands, it carried a coat patterned with spots or stripes to blend seamlessly into its surroundings. At Olduvai Gorge, the cradle of humankind, archaeologists Lewis and Mary Leakey once unearthed a Homo habilis skull bearing 2 round punctures at the temples. The spacing of these holes matched precisely with the canines of Dinofelis. The victim was likely a young hominin, attacked without warning and dragged into a dark den. Similar discoveries have been made at sites such as Sterkfontein and Swart Krans in South Africa, where Australopithecus skulls also bear identical canine punctures. All of this indicates that Dinofelis was once a terror to ancient humans. Scientist Bruce Chatwin speculated that in resisting this man-eating cat, humans may have invented the spear, a weapon of pivotal importance in human evolution. In another sense, Dinofelis again acted as a driving force behind human advancement. When humans first set foot in the Americas about 2,000 years ago, they did not enter an empty land. Thousands of years before them, this was the domain of Arctodus simus, the enormous, short-faced bear. Its fossils have been found from Alaska to Florida, with particularly large concentrations in the Rancho La Brea Valley of California. If grizzlies and polar bears seem fearsome to you, then it is impossible to imagine what our ancestors faced when encountering these colossal, short-faced bears. Arctodus lived in North America during the Ice Age about 25,000 years ago. Scientists believe it was the largest terrestrial mammal ever to exist on this continent. Arctodus stood up to 6 ft tall at the shoulder and weighed more than a ton. Its unusually long limb bones gave it a gait more like a wolf than a bear, allowing swift and far-ranging travel, with estimated speeds reaching 37 km/h. This bear was characterized by a shortened face and a broad muzzle, which is why it is often called the bulldog bear. Its sense of smell was extraordinarily developed. Analysis of the skull shows an olfactory chamber twice the volume of that of modern grizzlies. This means it could detect carrion from more than 12 miles away. Paleontologists believe the short-faced bear was a true carnivore. It ate only meat. However, other experts propose that it may have been omnivorous, meaning it also consumed plants. This is based on the very high ratio of nitrogen 15 to nitrogen 14 present in its bone samples. The skull and sharp teeth of Arctodus make it resemble a carnivore far more than a plant eater. It also had the ability to crush bone to reach marrow, clearly shown by the width of its jaws. From body size and tooth structure, paleontologists classify Arctodus as an opportunistic predator. It often charged in to steal carcasses from lions, saber-tooths, or dire wolves. Yet when prey was scarce, it could attack ancient humans. At several sites in Alaska and Canada, Neanderthal and Homo sapiens bones have been found bearing scratches, gouges, and fractures matching the force of large bear claws. It is highly likely that small hunter-gatherers bands of the Ice Age, while collecting meat or sheltering in caves, were attacked by Arctodus. With its towering height, it could topple rock barriers and lunge inside within seconds. The long limbs of this short-faced bear gave it a clear advantage over its prey. Arctodus could use its forelegs to strike its target. This was effortless because its long legs and broad stride matched or exceeded those of most other animals it pursued. It is difficult to imagine any other creature capable of threatening this short-faced bear in its time. It was among the largest carnivores to walk the earth since dinosaurs vanished at the end of the Cretaceous. This bear went extinct about 11,000 years ago as the ice retreated and humans spread across the Americas. Its end may have come from dwindling food or from humans hunting it in return. Yet during its reign, Arctodus stood as proof that raw power once made our ancestors tremble. Our prehistoric forebears did not suffer attacks only from bloodthirsty creatures on land. At times, they also faced violent assaults from above. This was the Haast's eagle, the largest eagle ever to live on Earth. Haast's eagle astonished scientists not only with its immense size, but with predatory abilities that allowed it to bring down prey 15 times its own weight. Before the Polynesians, ancestors of the Maori, reached the shores of New Zealand about 750 years ago, these islands were home to the most fearsome bird of prey the planet had ever known. Fossils discovered on the South Island show a wingspan reaching about 9.8 ft and a weight greater than 33 pounds, twice that of the modern golden eagle. Its powerful wings, talons stretching up to 3.5 in and strike force estimated to equal the punch of a professional boxer. However, what made it truly terrifying was not just its size, but its unparalleled hunting skill. Its primary prey was the moa, a flightless bird taller than a basketball player and weighing up to 441 pounds, though only a fraction of its prey's mass. Haast's eagle used ambush tactics, diving from above at tremendous speed and driving talons nearly 3.1 in long into the moa's back. Then it used its hooked beak to deliver a fatal blow to the skull or neck. Researchers believe that after killing, it tore open the abdomen to feed on internal organs. behavior similar to vultures. It is no exaggeration to say that Haast's eagle was the terror of many creatures in the primeval forests of ancient New Zealand. With no land predators such as lions, tigers, foxes, or wolves, the archipelago was ruled entirely by birds. In this world without mammalian carnivores, Haast's eagle rose as the apex predator, maintaining the balance of its ecosystem. Its bones were first discovered in the 1860s when settlers dug into marshlands during land clearing. When the first Polynesians arrived in New Zealand around the year 1200, they brought with them children, livestock, and fire. Although there is little archaeological evidence of direct conflict between humans and Haast's eagle, Maori legends preserve the memory of a giant raptor called Pouakai, said to have carried off children. Some ancient cave paintings also depict enormous birds with bare heads, a vulture-like trait that aided them in feeding on carrion. Modern analyses confirm that the talons of Haast's eagle were strong enough to pierce the skull of an adult human. Certain ancient human bones bear corresponding claw marks. When the moa went extinct from overhunting, Haast's eagle vanished as well. It remains the only apex raptor known to have posed a threat to humans. Today, Haast's eagle is regarded as one of the most extraordinary biological icons ever to exist. Nothing like it survives anywhere in the world, Dr. Cooper said. Its disappearance left an irreplaceable void in the ecosystem and stands as a profound reminder of humanity's impact on nature. While many predators have vanished, another lineage endures to this day, the crocodiles. Although today, we may feel familiar with crocodiles, with some people even keeping them as pets, while others encounter them through luxury shoes, belts, or leather wallets. For our distant ancestors, approaching a crocodile was anything but wise. On the contrary, they tried to stay as far from crocodiles as possible. If the grasslands of East Africa were once the realm of lions and giant hyenas, then the rivers, lakes, and marshes belonged to another monster, Crocodylus thorbjarnarsoni. 2 million years ago, around Lake Turkana in Kenya, where ancient rivers wound across vast plains, the climate was hotter and more humid than it is today. There, Homo habilis and Homo erectus often gathered to drink, fish, or collect carcasses along the riverbanks. Yet they had no idea that just beneath the still surface, a pair of blazing yellow eyes watched and waited. Its first fossils were discovered on the western shore of Lake Turkana in sediments about 1.84 million years old, the same age as the earliest Homo erectus in Africa. It took 4 grown men to lift the skull fossil of this colossal creature. The size of Crocodylus thorbjarnarsoni far exceeded that of any modern crocodile. It reached an estimated length of 24.6 ft and weighed more than a ton, with an enormous skull nearly 3.3 ft long, larger than that of the Nile crocodile. Its jaws held dozens of conical teeth, each up to 3.9 in long, built to grip and crush bone. The broad, powerful skull shows that its bite force may have exceeded 16,000 newtons, enough to drag a full-grown zebra underwater in seconds. Paleontologists believe that Crocodylus thorbjarnarsoni represented the peak of crocodile evolution in Africa during the Pleistocene, when the lands around Lake Turkana teemed with buffalo, zebras, hippos, and early humans. Based on the fossil evidence discovered, this crocodile once hunted our distant ancestors in prehistoric times. This is entirely understandable because our ancestors had to approach the river to drink, leaving no reason they could not become the perfect prey for this giant reptile. 3-dimensional reconstructions show that with such size, Crocodylus thorbjarnarsoni could lie in wait at the water's edge, its entire body concealed with only a sliver of its skull exposed. When ancient humans bent down to scoop water or drink directly, it needed only 0.2 seconds to surge from the surface, clamp onto the head or shoulder, and drag its victim under. It then spun its body in a death roll to break bones, disorient the target, and pull it steadily into the depths. The hunting abilities of Crocodylus thorbjarnarsoni were not limited to the water. Fossil trackways show that it could crawl up to 164 ft onto land, hiding among reeds and waiting for herds or humans to pass. And the question emerges, how did our ancestors, weak, slow, lacking claws and fangs, survive this hell to become the dominant species of the planet? The answer lay not in physical strength, but in intellect. Small beings like Homo habilis and Homo erectus began wielding the most dangerous weapon Earth had ever known: creativity. They did not charge into battle with teeth and claws, but watched from afar, learning to observe predators and recognize the patterns of nature. When giant hyenas abandoned a carcass and when vultures lifted into the sky, humans stepped in to gather what remained: bone, marrow, and hide. With sharpened stones, they cracked bones to drink the nutrient-rich marrow that even Pachycrocuta could not reach. This energy fed the brain, allowing it to grow faster, stronger, and ultimately more intelligent. On open ground, without trees for shelter, predators lurked at every turn. Moving on, 4 limbs did not make apes outrun their hunters, but standing upright granted them one unexpected advantage: a farther view. Walking on 2 legs not only allowed early apes to spot danger from afar, but conserved energy. They could travel farther and gather more food, from seeds and roots to animal remains. Gradually, their legs grew stronger, their thighs thicker, and their hands, freed from locomotion, became more dexterous. Those hands ignited the next leap in intelligence. Hands allowed humans to craft tools, harness fire, dig, forage, and expand their capacity to survive. Once fire appeared, food was cooked, richer in nutrients and vital for brain growth. Not merely tool users, our ancestors learned to create, to teach, and to pass knowledge onward, the essential foundation of society and civilization. As intelligence evolved, they began to hunt in groups, to divide roles, and to form strategies. First with stones, then sharpened sticks, then fire. On long, cold nights, firelight in the forest drove back the darkness, a feat no creature before them had achieved. When giant crocodiles hid beneath the water, humans chose higher ground. When Pachycrocuta relied on strength, humans relied on planning. Bit by bit, they shifted their place in the food chain from the hunted to the hunters. What do you think about the monsters that once stalked our ancestors? Which creature do you believe was the most terrifying? Do you know of any other ancient animals that deserve a place on this list? Leave a comment below and let us know. Thank you for staying with us until the end. Do not forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel so you will not miss other fascinating content, and to support us in creating even more compelling videos. Farewell, and see you next time.